Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be at in the world. I wanted to come on here and do some teachings. Also, I wanted to do some readings so that everyone can get familiar with me in the group. I want to welcome all new members, new and old. Also, Aboro Aboye, Aboyase, Ashe Alafia. I'm trying to get as many people as I can in the live because I want people to learn. So everyone share this live so you can get familiar with me, like I said. I hope everyone is having a good day, a good afternoon, a good evening. I wanted to talk about the Orishas and the different paths, but also I wanted to recommend this book. If nobody has this book, this is a good book to have, and you could actually get it on Amazon for like little or next to nothing. So if you want to know about the Orishas, like really get to know them, get this book. This is a good book to read. I was discussing Legba some months back, and today I think is Ogun Day. I'm not sure. Ashe Alafia. So I am going to talk about Ogun today. For those that are not familiar with Ogun, Ashe Alafia, how are you? For those that are not familiar with Ogun, even though I'm not familiar with him, it's good to read also about these different Orishas. Let's go ahead and get into it about Ogun. Ogun translates as the piercer, pounderer, straightener, settler. The word Ogun with the appropriate tonal changes can be translated to mean the Orisha, Ogun, war, Ogun, inheritance, Ogun, medicine, Ogun, and prescription, Ogun. Ogun is that force of nature that keeps matter in motion. Once God gives a being life, it is Ogun's energy that sustains that organism. Ogun's presence and importance is best expressed by the law of physics, which states that the universe and everything in it is in a state of constant motion. That means nothing moves without the ancestors. Nothing moves without Odumare. Nothing moves without Orunmila. Okay, let's see here. Ogun is responsible for sustaining that motion. Ogun is the sustainer of life. Without Ogun, the universe as we know it would not exist. He controls 1/4 of the universe, and although he cannot exist of himself, he is so important in the scheme of things that all of the Orisha are dependent on him for their existence. Ogun is one of the oldest Orisha in the Yoruba pantheon. He is characterized as a sober adult deity. He is always evolving, and manifesting himself in many different forms as the use and development of energy technology becomes more sophisticated and devastating and more grotesque. Ogun's symbol is the knife. That fact causes a major contradiction to arise. Ogun is the first to eat among the Orisha because the knife is the first thing to taste blood in any sacrifice. Odu Ifa tales state that Elegba, must eat first, and in ritual feasts and bloodless offerings he is presented his food first. However, in blood sacrifices it is Ogun, the only one allowed to take a life, who eats first. It is because of him that the other Orisha can be fed blood. Hello, my goddaughter, Ashe Alafia. Ogun lives in all metals, yet iron best represents his enduring strength and versatility. Although iron is used as his chief symbol, his essence existed long before iron was created. Ogun was born from the untapped energy of the earth. Ogun is force, locomotion, contraction, expansion, and give and take. His technology, and it is the application of technology that builds the societies of the world. He is the magnetic stone. The particular concept is extremely important in understanding the nature of Ogun. Ogun is the force that attracts and is attracted by other bodies. Ogun is the force of gravity. He is not only gravity, but is the force that causes the earth to spin on its axis, thus creating the force of gravity. He thereby shapes the conditions in which the other Orisha may manifest themselves in a distinguishable form, i.e. the atmosphere, the weather, and so forth. Aboro Aboyase, Ashe Alafia, Agbo Ato Arofun. Also, Ogun is an earthly deity in the sense that many of his tangible expressions are born in the bowels of the earth. He is the one of the richest Orishas because he controls mines and all the mineral wealth that comes from the earth. The idea hints at the concept of the earth as a womb. This goes to the divine feminine. This and relates to the use of the cauldron as a symbol for both Ogun and the earth. Ogun is the father of metamorphosis because he is the great strength, and with the aid of intense heat he transforms carbon into diamonds, sandstone into marble, and marble into geniuses. The cauldron is symbolic of a womb, a mind, the primordial abyss. The tools which are kept inside it are used by Ogun to extract fashion or shape whatever potential riches are inside. The tools come some miniature, some full size, are symbolic implements. Some are blacksmith tools, some are farmer tools, some are hunter's tools that are used to help forge, cultivate, and provide for the enrichment of the individual's potential to enhance his life. Therefore, when it is said that Ogun mines all the minerals that we consider valuable, we are speaking not only of gold and jewels, but of the inner wealth born inside a person's being. So the chakras represent the Orishas. The original 7 tools of Ogun were war implements. According to legend, those copper tools were stolen by Oya, his wife. Ogun was then forced to fashion 7 new iron tools. This time he fashioned farm implements. The legend symbolizes mankind's role changed from that of wandering warriors to that of the sedentary agriculturist. Oya symbolizes the wind of change. Ogun changes from Ogun changes from a warlike, nomadic, pondering deity to a sedentary, stable deity who is involved in husbandry and agriculture, and who is more useful and able to be included as a valuable addition to the total society. This story is symbolic and is used to illustrate ancient man's rationalization of changing technology and the societal changes that follow in its wake. One set of tools dominated man. The new set of tools dominates both man and the land. Ogun is the tool maker for the Orisha and man, and he shapes man's destiny through the forging those tools. So basically, you have one that's ruled over man, which was the tools that Oya took. And then he went back and said, okay, she took my tools, I'm going to make something else. So he made something else to help cultivate the land. The main tools of Ogun are the Anaveo, Otaro Ogun, which signifies the earth's ability to transform man. The hammer, Oul, which is used to bend or shape man's faculties. The machete, Ada, which is used to clear paths and to protect and rake. Irin Iu Ile, which is used to gather and smooth the rough areas of the self. The hoe, Oko, which is used to cut weeds that would choke the cultivation of one's potential. The shovel, O, which is used for digging, pierce the hardened areas of the self. And the pry, Irin tu ile, which is used to uproot and remove stubborn obstacles from our paths. Each of the tools of Ogun has many more uses. The history of the world is filled with examples of how most of these tools were used by various people in acts of war, defense, and basic survival. The tools help one survive, and their only elimination one's imagination. The implements are gifts of Ogun, which he uses to help a person through fire. Ogun is the basic primal instincts to live, to eat, to sleep, to find shelter, and to procreate. Ogun is the rapist, but not just in the narrow sense of the term. Ogun is the person who forces another person to have sex, but he also is the farmer who rapes the land and forces it to produce the fruit of his seed, and the miner who tears open the earth to take her treasures and leave her forever ruptured. He is the force that animates and takes life, and death. Our own death and death are the only Orisha authorized to take life. Ogun controls life and death because he rules the heart. Ogun is the energy that forces the heart to pump blood and thereby sustain life. The heart is a symbolic of Ogun because it continues to pump ceaselessly during one's lifetime. When it stops pumping, death strikes. Ogun is associated with life because he is the final contraction which pushes the baby out into the world. Ogun is physical might, and he gives one the firmness to trudge through life. Ogun makes a person headstrong because in the process of cultivating one's inner potential, he instills cultivation, indomitability, and gives one the energy to persevere. Ogun does not deviate from the path. He is tenacity, conviction, stubbornness, doggonedness, and raw courage. He is slow plodding and sure-footed. Ogun is a sure thing. Ogun is the clearer of paths and the maker of roads. His works allow the Orisha to reach their destination. He demands that things change to suit his will, and he forces his way through life. The left hand is symbolic of Ogun. It is considered sacred and is used by hunters and religious group members to greet one another during solemn ceremonies. It is used to prepare strong medicines, used to bless others, and is used to swear oaths of fraternity and secrecy. Ogun is the Orisha of war because a war cannot be sustained without him. He is the inventor and fabricator of the tools of war. It is during the war that many of his aspects find free reign. During a war, the concepts of all-out fighting, the use of iron, the spilling of blood, survival, courage, rape, and the confiscation of booty find full actualization. Ogun is the foot soldier because he is faithful and loyal. He exhibits valor, and because he knows how to follow orders, Ogun invented war implements like the sword, the dagger, guns, and armor. Ogun is also gunpowder, Itu, born. He is black and repulsive. He causes man to find a new way of reasoning, i.e. force overrules all reason. Ogun is the father of the army and represents humility based on power. He is loyalty and comradeship formed in the midst of battle. He represents hand-to-hand combat and the ability to hurt, maim, and kill up close. Ogun represents the images of grappling with the things near at hand. In working with the Ogun, it is necessary to understand that Ogun is most effective fighting for things within reach, things that are visible in the immediate vicinity. Ogun keeps his eyes on the prize. Ogun often lives in solitary confinement, life when in society because he has limited social skills. He is generally driven by the primal instincts and enjoys the free environment of the forest and mountains. Ogun is symbolized by the mountain man. Ogun, like Elegua and Ochosi, is a marginal ascendancy in society. The very nature of these Orisha sets them apart from this more secondary and predictable Orisha. Their work is usually so tightly connected with the wild, with war and death, that they are unsuited for the rules and confines of society, even though society without their contributions is impossible. Visualize, if you will, a group of war-wearied soldiers entering a town to celebrate. The short visit is sufficient to indicate to both the trio and the town just how ill-suited they are for each other. With the exit, each group gives a sigh of relief to be rid of the other. Ogun marginal and solitary behavior explains the types of occupations that are associated with him. He is associated with such aloof occupations as the hangman, the public executioner, the whipper and the torturer, and the bounty hunter. Ogun is the patron of all hunters. He has a strong relationship with Irnali and Ochosi, his younger brother, with whom he formed a sacred pact to always hunt together. Ogun is associated with brotherhood, guilds, fraternal organizations, and friendships. Oaths are sworn to Ogun. Ogun is the forest ranger and is deeply involved in professions with care for wild animals. The forest is the domain of Osian, or Orisha of the power of leaves, who allow Ogun, Ochosi, and Irnali to sojourn in his forest at his pleasure. Ogun's favorite animal is the dog. The dog is a domesticated wolf, was the first predatory animal domesticated by man. Ogun likes all dogs, but he prefers black dogs. He favors the dog because it is faithful and devoted, because of the way it hunts game, and the dog runs down the prey by exhausting it. And because the dog plays so many roles in society, the dog is known as man's best friend, and it shares the Ogun with Ogun the trait of undying loyalty. Ogun is also a tanner and is the patron of wood carvers, leather workers, barbers, locomotive, and automobile drivers. Ogun is also the patron of farmers, miners, excavators, and laborers. He symbolizes by surgeon who skillfully uses a knife to cut away disease and save lives. He is represented by the police who are meant to protect and serve the community. Ogun is the blacksmith. Ogun is the one who forges the tools of living and blacksmith. He maintains and controls fire in his forge, which makes him both a necessary but feared member of the community. Historic tales say that Ogun originally used force to bend things until Shango taught him how to use fire. This tale jokingly shows Ogun as an untutored technician who used brute force and had to be shown how to use fire to soften metal to the point where it could be bent easily. The tale also points to the fact that the new iron technology was introduced into the forest areas of Yoruba land from northern sources controlled by the Oyo Sango. This is an example of the politics of culture. It serves to show how the conflict of two cultures manifested itself in history of the religion. Ogun is the Orisha who is a relative of indigenous hunter founders of Ile Ife. Shango is a third generation Oyo outsider who rose to power and was later elevated to the status of Orisha. The tale in an attempt by the Yoruba to equalize the conflicting powers influence of both Orisha in the minds of the people. Ogun is the master of secrets because he knows what things are most powerful and valuable and where those things are located in the earth and in the self. He represents professions that form guilds or tightly knit fraternities in which secret internal information about those valuable and sources of power is passed down from the generations to the next. So in other words, Ogun controls the movement of earth. So his planet, his rising planet is the earth. So basically, Ogun can be helpful and harmful when he's wronged by other people or other people wrong other people. So really, you don't have to fight anybody physically or spiritually. That's where Ogun come in at. You don't have to necessarily get that person. Ogun already doing that. Also moving on, Ogun Oniri ni aye aja, Ogun ikola aye iben, Ogun ina oye ega aye, opa salepa oko laka aye Ogun. So basically, this is basically a prayer to Ogun. In the sacrifices where a knife is not used for female birds, the hands are used to dispatch the victim. The hands are, in the instance, an extension of Ogun's brute force. Ipan Iyin is the defied spirit that resides in the stomach, claims its share of all food, and demands that sacrifices are made to it. John Manson, Orion, Orisha songs for selected heads, Brooklyn, Yoruba theological accuracy. So basically, Ogun can be gentle and he could be a brute. He could be forceful. So when you're dealing with people, sometimes you just have to take a step back. And what you have to do is you have to let Ogun do what he do. That's why when somebody say they gonna do this and that to you, and you be like, okay, whatever. That means Ogun already got it. That means one of your Orishas or one of your ancestors that you got already got it. But like I said, you can't have the divine masculine without the divine feminine, and you can't have the divine feminine without the divine masculine. I'm also going to be doing readings on here for a minute. I wanted to come on here for a minute and, show my face so everybody know who I am. Because I know people be like, who this girl posting and stuff? She don't go live. So I wanted to show my face so everybody know who I am. So if you want a reading done, let me know. You can message me in my messenger and I'll be glad to read you. But if you want a $5 pull from 5 cards from whatever deck I'm using, then I'll be glad to do that. But I'm about to go live in my husband's group. So if you need anything, you can contact me or my husband. Alafia Ashe. I hope everyone have a good day, a good evening, a good night, wherever you may be at in the world. I hope everyone is staying safe. Don't let nothing get you down. Everything is going to be fine.